What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Psychiatrist Podcast. Today we got a special guest, Brother Shaft Uddin, Tantra Master.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're going to delve into the Tantra and sacred sexuality and hopefully learn a few techniques from our brother Shaft. But before we begin, love to set the frequency here. Gonna just speak a few words into this podcast. By the love of original eternal source consciousness field, we have come. So I set a barrier now, the frequency of unconditional love on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual plane around this podcast. All who are listening to it, we welcome in the eternal beloved beings of unconditional love. We asked all other beings to exit now. For the truth of original eternal source consciousness field we stand. We welcome in the frequency of truth, the truth of sacred sexuality, the truth of this beautiful, amazing, pleasurable energy. May the truth be known, may the truth be spoken, and may the truth set us free, for we are free indeed, and all the soul wants is to be free. By the power of original eternal source consciousness field we fly. We welcome each one of us now listening to step into our unique power. Completely 100% unapologetically ourselves, a unique oscillatory vibratory of Almighty Living Creator Source for such an important inflection point in humanity and Mother Earth's history. We welcome each one of us and invite ourselves to step into our power. By the way of original eternal source go I, by the grace of original eternal source consciousness field, I now sanctify and renew this podcast episode as under the divine protector of the original eternal life founders, races, Melchizedek, Cloister, Emerald, Amethyst, and Gold Order, which I am a level 6 Eckhart, for the liberation of all sentient beings, for the liberation of this beautiful, sexual, powerful, creative force on earth as it is in the highest heavens. We give gratitude in advance. Taisha into the way, Taisha into the way, Taisha into the way. Spoken as it is stated now, and so it is done. Rasha ear, let us for Christ our on this podcast now, and all who are listening. All right, brother. Well, it's a joy to dive into this topic with you. I know you've been in this beautiful art for a long time. First thing I want to ask you, brother, is explain what is Tantra? What do you want the world to know about the world of Tantra?
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your beautiful podcast. Tantra is the original biohacking. It's 112 meditations to reach self-realization. Now, Tantra means multiple things. And it is a very personal journey. It's a lot like people interpreting religions. It's a lot like people making it their own as well. And the 112 meditations are just all about you knowing your body, managing and regulating your nervous system, understanding your emotions, and becoming self-aware. That's it. It's they're very simple meditations. One of the simplest meditations that Shiva teaches Shakti in the Tantric text is level of awareness around the breath. You just breathe and expand, and at the top of the breath, bring your awareness, and when you exhale, and at the bottom of the breath, you bring your awareness. So it's and that quietens the mind. You control your breath, you control your emotions, you control your life. Easy peasy, not so hard. Yeah. And in some of those practices, there are some sexual aspects to it. I focus on the sexual aspects. That's just me. My name is Shaft. I have the Shaft method. I help men overcome erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and porn addiction. I help women overcome sexual trauma, but also feel safe enough in their bodies that they could open up and expand to other human beings. If their trauma comes from men, then the opposite of that is the healing can come from men. Their growth can come from men. If they're frightened of penises, there's the other side of that, which is loving the lingam. So activating the quantum cock is something I like to inspire men to do, and for women to start listening to their womb wisdom. And that's where all our energy really comes from. Like our purpose in life. We have all these big buildings, like there's one right behind me there. Looks like a giant penis. We do everything to get sex. Every sound you hear in nature is to get laid. And if God created us, they created us for one reason. Pleasure, have fun, make love, and create. Let's say God was drinking a cup of tea. He went over to the counter and he left the creation. He was like, they can't fuck it up. There's only two people here, Adam and Eve. I gave them everything. They could eat off the land. Everything they could ever desire is already coming from the planet, Gaia herself. They're going to be fine. I'm just going to make a cup of tea. They can't fuck it up. What did they do? I left them for a blink of an eye for me, and they did this. Wars, famine, everything.
Yeah, love that. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, one of the first things you said was Tantra in its original form. And I feel like society is slowly starting to remember its original form. Yes, breath, regulate the nervous system. I think this has been a popular thing through society for the last, breath work and regulating the nervous system, releasing the trauma. And so many different things you said that I want to dive into. And one of them is you said 112 meditations, and some of them to rapid self-realization and the ability to realize and remember who the fuck we are, and that sex was intendedly, Tantra was created for this high art purpose. Can you speak to me a little bit more about Tantra and self-realization? And let's start there and then see where this goes.
So Tantra applies three basic tools: breath, sound, and movement. Everything is stored in the body. The body holds the score. So every trauma, every story, like our brain is a great device. It's not where all memories are stored. It's also lodged in our bodies. Now, every time something terrible happens or something great happens, it's stored in our cellular level of the memories. I specialize in a thing around releasing sexual trauma from the body. I do a thing called Yoni mapping, Yoni de-armoring. It's almost like a shamanic experience. It's like a psychedelic experience without the psychedelics. It's through the body. And through a certain method, trigger point release inside of the Yoni, you go around the Yoni, and through pockets of tension, trauma is released, stories are released. And when they're triggered in a vulnerable space, or let's say they're frightened of red jumpers, and a man with a red jumper goes past them and they smell a smell and it reminds them of an abuser when they were younger, they'll get triggered and they'll feel that visceral memory come into their physical body. Now with trigger point release and the Yoni de-armoring, that gets released from the body. Now when someone sees a red jumper or smells a smell, it doesn't affect them. They don't get triggered to the state of that moment when they got traumatized. So through the body, we release the tension and traumas through breath, sound, and movement. We are able to access a direct point in the body and release that trauma. So they become free. Now their patterns and behaviors around situations, especially around love, sex, and intimacy, they're able to be themselves rather than trying to feel safe or protecting themselves every time something comes up and reminds them of a past memory. We're basically trapped in this cycle, these loops of memories, behaviors, and we do things because we don't want to get hurt anymore. We'll never know who we are unless we release that trauma, the stories, so we can move beyond that pain point and start to feel more pleasure. But most of all, the whole thing about Tantra is to be present. Who are you without the pain? Who are you without the traumas? Who are you without the tension in your body? Who are you with all of the stories you've carried from your life and your parents' lives? Like, we are installed with programs all the time, generationally, in ourselves. And our job is to release all of that. So we become present, become playful, become happy, we start to create, we start to live a life of abundance and joy. The highest vibration on the planet is joy. Joy is pleasurable. We just forgot that pleasure, creativity, play is one of the most enlightening things you could do, because that's what the gods did. They just played the Leela.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful breath, sound, and movement leading to just presence and the ability to, the body keeps a score, to release the memories, the subconscious memories from the body so that we can be truly present is the art of Tantra. Beautiful. Now, if you could talk to me a little bit more about, I think in society today, not a large percentage of people may have experienced true, authentic breath, presence with a partner with purely the intention of authentic connection. And there's a lot of reasons probably why, what society has mass programmed, religious, political programming of what sex, you know, they made it, shamed it, and all these different things. But you're actually saying the opposite of that, which is pleasure, creativity, play. Talk to me about authentic, throughout your years of mastery of Tantra, authentic connection for the average person out there who may be watching this and who's interested in delving into this world of authentic, playful, present connection. Any words of wisdom for that person?
Beautiful question. So in Tantra, we do these meditations where we do a thing called transfiguration, where we look into each other's eyes until we see the God inside of us and the goddess inside of us. And we try to connect on a space of transpersonal connection where it's beyond the stories, beyond the physical, and we have two souls connecting. And it's beautiful. And it doesn't take long. Like, the thing I love about Tantra is it's so easy. I've made sure that I've simplified everything enough so a 5-year-old could do it, and 5-year-old could connect for the rest of their lives without any trauma. Mm-hmm. So this is the key to all of this. It's so easy and so basic. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were to have, I call these tantric date nights. This is a little tip for all your listeners out there. Yeah. Tantric date night. Find a beautiful playlist. Dr. Samuel has got a beautiful playlist. I was listening to his yesterday for 8 hours. It's epic. So put on a romantic playlist. Put on candle lights, fairy lights, something that, creates a nice atmosphere. Put on some incense, have some Palo Santo, do some sage, whatever you need to do to make it fragrantly nice. And then create a container. So your tantric date night, they come over and you frame it. The word we're going to use is tantric date night. You sit opposite each other, you breathe together, you look into each other's eyes for about 5 minutes, let's say. You drop all of the expectations, you become present. And then you say, what is your intention for this tantric date night? My intention for this tantric date night is for deeper intimacy and deeper connection with you. And then you say it back. What is your intention for this tantric date night? Da, 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 da. And then you say, do you have any fears for this tantric date night? Oh, my fears around this tantric date night is I feel like there might be too much expectations and I might have to do something I don't want to do. And then if there's any words of reassurance you want to give that person, like, hey, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. We're going to talk about boundaries. It's fine. So you give them words of reassurance to their fear. Then you say, what is your desires for this tantric date night? And this could be a list of things you want to do. So I've just been studying karma flight. So I would say, I'd love to practice this thing called karma flight. And I'm really, really good at giving tantric massages. Do you have any coconut oil? Because I'd love to give you a tantric massage. A list of things. And you're always going back and forth and you're practicing active listening. So every time you ask a question, you're listening and it's not a two-way conversation. You're listening, they're speaking, and then at the end, you switch. So it's active listening. Then the most important one is boundaries. What are your boundaries for this tantric date night? Now, a lot of people won't know what boundaries are, and a lot of people might say, I don't have any boundaries. Then I give the reference point of, imagine a virgin looking for the love of their lives, meets a person who's into hardcore BDSM. And the virgin says, I have no boundaries. And the person who's into hardcore BDSM goes, great, let's play. So then we're going to have a mishmash of expectations. So boundaries is very important. Now, the boundaries I use is close off or on. Off. Great. Then my brain knows a lot of things I could do with close off. But I also know a lot of things to do with the close on. Like there's a whole thing around energy orgasms. It's fantastic. I call it Palladian sex. So there's many, many things because I've studied many, many things. 10 years of making love every day. Like you're going to figure out a few things. Boundaries, close on or off. Genital touch. Can I touch your breast? Can I touch your yoni, outside of a yoni, your buttocks? And they would say, yes, sure. You can touch my my breast, my underwear can come off. You can touch it outside of my yoni. I'm like, okay, great. Internal and external stimulation. Would you like my fingers inside of you or anything like that? And she would say, or they would say, you know what? Let's just start off with just outside play, physical sensations, nothing goes in. But I might change that later on, depending what the energy is like. So you get all these things, and you can go deeper and deeper and deeper, but you get the idea. Next question. Do you have any STIs? When was the last time you got tested? And have you had unprotected sex since? So you got nice little health check, which is always handy. And then finally, what would this tantric date night mean to you? And there you have it. You've got I used to work in advertising, so you've got a nice brief. You've got a beautiful little thing that you can navigate and play in a 2-hour window. Then you go into a non-verbal space, put on beautiful music, get the coconut oil out, and you go into this intimate journey, a dance. And that's what it is. There isn't a goal to go to the sex, the release, the ejaculation, the orgasms. It's a dance. There is no masculine or feminine. There is a giver and a receiver, but eventually you become the giver and the receiver at the same time.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you have a closing ritual. Gratitude, expressing gratitude, bring back your own energy and saying, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, I release you. There you go. That allows a lot of intimacy to happen straight away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, people are literally dying for a starvation of love, which is really just authentic connection. The universe is the cohesive power of the universe is love and this authentic connection. And, it's crazy because like when I actually for the first time in my life experienced authentic tantric connection, no goal, regulated nervous system, breath, presence. There's a white bubble of light around us, setting the container. We've prepared the setting. The intention is simple, just love and connection, authentic connection, and everything you just said in that setting, intention, and container. With what you said, defining your desire. What is my desire for this? And being honest with that, and then our boundaries. What are my boundaries? No, don't go there. This is my boundaries. And what STIs, making sure that everybody's safe and just putting everything into awareness and the light, right? And absolutely no judgment. And then also, what does this interaction mean to me? And I feel like this is a microcosm of the macrocosm of the new earth we're trying to create, is where everybody's honest and transparent and bringing any of the shadows into light and honest about their desires, because God had a desire to experience itself in many forms. And literally, that's what making sacred energy exchange is. It's God making love with God. And that's Tantra. Everything is Tantra. And so I love how you set the boundary and you said it's very easy. You just define your relationship, your meaning, set a date, ask your desire, put a boundary on it, and set the setting, bring a little coconut oil, and explore with simple breath and presence each other. And I'm telling you, like once I experienced true authentic connection, true Tantra, you can't go back to just.
You can never go back. You cannot go back.
You cannot go back because it's like this authentic spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energy all combined.
And it makes you younger. It makes you younger. You have more time for intimacy. There is all these studies done about the blue zones and like people living for longer than anyone else. It's all about human connection. If you're making love for 2 hours, breathing together, connecting in heart-centered intimacy without expectations. Like when you're dancing with someone, there's no big crescendo. Like when you're dancing with someone, it feels good to dance with someone. And that's how I like to translate. I used to be a break dancer and a dance teacher. So I bring lovemaking, the art of tantric lovemaking, into the world of dance and merging it together. So it's like no expectations. It's just anatomy. Women move in waves, men move like this. But on the dance floor, women move in waves, and we love seeing women move in waves. But men, you see men holding a drink and like moving side to side, very rigid. But that energy, that movement practice of the body wins in traditional matrix sex. If you allow a woman to connect and you feel and listen to her body, it's a game of listening and presence, then you can merge with her and you can help her soar. That's the beauty of this work. Presence, listening, and creating pockets of experiences. It could be 3.5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, it could be 2 hours, or it could be a lifetime. It's creating that pocket of experience of deep, authentic intimacy with love. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
As I said, God just made us to have love and create and make love, have pleasure. People forget how beautiful life can be.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Now, there's something you also mentioned in the very beginning here, and it's called, can you describe the yoni on a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual plane? And you also mentioned yoni de-armoring, yoni releasing, and I know that's part of the work that you do. And when I saw a live transmission, I know a lot of people might think when they might not even know what a yoni is, but like it's the sacred womb from which all humanity emerges, right? And there it's like a whole flower art womb of creation, and it's deep. And for so long, men and women in the root chakra have been systematically, possibly, carried the lack of safety in that area because of whether it's trauma, whether it's, religious programming or whatever it is. And safety really is the key, the prerequisite for healing. Can you talk to us a little bit about the yoni, the lingam, the root chakra, what the yoni is and what yoni de-armoring looks like and feels like energetically?
Beautiful. So the yoni is the oldest Sanskrit word for sacred space, which is translated to the vulva. The word lingam is the oldest Sanskrit word for your penis, and that is translated to the shaft of light. My name is Shaft. There are no coincidences in this world. So the yoni, when you tap into your yoni, your womb wisdom, you will start to not have any period pain. When you release the emotions from your womb, your yoni, you will actually start to release the tension. And let's say the yoni is like a flower, but due to everything going in, and she's like trying to protect herself, and she's not ready to open up, because in the West we like to go hard and fast straight away. There's a lot of like women, if you're getting UTIs, what you want to do is make sure you're fully lubricated. Make sure all your androgynous zones are fully engorged with blood, so nothing goes into the wrong hole. So when you're fully ready, only when you check in with yourself do you actually ask to be penetrated or get permission if you want to be penetrated. So it's very important that you really take care and listen and go slow, because when a woman is fully on fire, she will want that eternal flame of love, sex, and intimacy to keep on going and going. And women are naturally tantric. Like they have one orgasm, they have two orgasms, and multi-orgasmic as a species. So are men. They just don't know how to do it yet. So the energetics of the yoni is a creative portal. We all came from there. And yet every swear word, the most offensive word you could say is cunt. You cunt. And that's a very British word, but that is very, that's like the ultimate jab in a lot of countries. And that is a name for the most beautiful place where we all come from. So our job is to really honor and understand the anatomy, our own anatomy, learn to unlock our own sensations, our own pleasure pathways. Like I've created a blueprint, Yoni mapping, discover her pleasure pathways. It's a very simple blueprint. It's to know what type of touches she likes, from an earth touch, a watery touch, a light air touch, and a fiery touch, which is invigorating. Finding out how she likes her breast to be touched. A woman's energy is in her heart, so you want to open up her heart through the breast and then direct that energy down to her yoni. When her heart is open, her yoni opens. It's completely connected. And then you start to activate the outside of a yoni. There's all these different techniques you could do. One of my favorite new ones is this one. The Tour de France is a great one around the clitoris and around the bottom and around the top. Once you start to feel the juices getting activated, you could ask her, I'm at the gate of your temple, would you like to invite me in? And then what I do at work is I don't penetrate her. I just get her to squeeze her PC muscles so she could actually suck my finger in. So in that way, she's not getting penetrated. She's actually taken all of the power back. And for a lot of women, that is huge. From being violated over and over again, and they not being able to express their boundaries. And then from there, you could discover all the beautiful places like the G-spot, which is like a spongy area, just the internal extension of the clitoris. And beyond that, there is the A-spot, which is the lady's favorite. That's where you could activate, and the sacred Amrita comes from there. 100% of women can squirt. And
can you talk to me, sorry to interrupt, a little bit about that sacred fluid that you just mentioned?
The Amrita.
Yeah.
Yes, the Amrita. There are many old paintings in the 16th century of Japanese emperors having a big bed with a little thing and a cup, and they drink the Amrita of their courtesan. And that is meant to keep you young forever. Now, there is something to it. For my personal practice, my own love life, just a year ago, I was highly stressed trying to figure out sales and marketing and selling my online courses. And I had a beautiful girlfriend in Dubai, and we were like working together. And I was like hunched on the computer stressed. But every day we had a 10-minute practice where I would go down on her and I would pleasure her for 10 minutes. Because what I noticed was when I did that, all the tension and my headache was gone. And I felt really alive and happy. I mean, she was naturally happy because I've got this technique on how to give pleasure. I think anyway, that's another online course. So yeah, I discovered that I felt more invigorated from the act of giving and being present. And the pain in my head would go away, but I had more energy to go back to work again. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. So there is something in drinking the Amrita, from my own personal practice as well. The Holy Grail of orgasms is in the cervix. So going deep inside, it feels like the tip of your nose or like this, and you can activate it with different techniques. And then underneath the cervix and A-spot is a K-spot. It's the tailbone from the inside. That's where the Kundalini energy is stored. And very often when you just hold it or pulse it, you can actually release a lot of sexual energy. And if you've got lower back pain, that also can be released as well. So there's many, many things. Like once you discover basic anatomy, you could actually play the female body like an instrument. You could hear the sounds. Like if they're very high pitch, you're stimulating the clitoris. If you're deep inside, and the sound that they make is like deeper, like more deeper, more rooted in the cervical orgasmic state. So it's yeah, it's just really beautiful to be playful, to know that these options exist, and to be curious. Because not enough people are curious, because all men think that they're a sex god. And trust me, I've interviewed a lot of women and a lot of Tantra teachers, and I asked them, how many sex gods have you actually met? And they even say no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I love that you're bringing it all together here because, the foundation of all of this was the safety that the woman feels to have her power back, to be in control and to know that her partner has no goal other than breath and presence. And when she feels safe, the flower of the Yoni, which is the sacred womb, there's different areas that you can, when she feels safe and invited to start de-armoring, releasing, or even eventually pleasuring the different spots that you mentioned, the outside, the clitoris, the A spot you mentioned, and the G spot, and then all the way into the Holy Grail, and even go down into the Kundalini energy. And so I know you had, I think in one of your videos you mentioned like this mudra. There was a mudra. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about this mudra?
I call this the Anubis.
The Anubis.
The
Yeah.
Anubis, it looks like the Anubis, right?
Yeah, it
So the
does.
Anubis is actually this way around.
Okay.
And it's the ultimate move to stimulate all of the great Yoni bursts. So, so just imagine a woman's lying down. I'm
Yeah.
on the side of her, and my hand, the palm of my hand, is stimulating the outside. The two outer fingers are stimulating the outer labias. Now, this part, the first base of my two fingers, are stimulating the G spot. This is stimulating that part, is stimulating the A spot, and my fingers are stimulating the cervix. So you obviously ask consent once you're inside. I do a thing called the whirlwind. And then you start to hear the sound.
Yeah.
It's this sound that when you hear that sound, she squirts. It's a very specific sound. It's very watery.
Yeah.
And you press a little bit down on the pubic bone so it stretches the area. So you can really feel the clitoris and the whole outside here. And the movement is an easy movement. It's not what you see in porn. And the movement is like this eventually. And then slowly you start, I do it from the hips because once upon a time I gave too many Yoni massages and I ended up getting a crack in my neck. I was once a burnt out healer. That was my sad story. So now I train and certify people with the Shaft method so they don't injure themselves by overgiving. So everything is very easy, very much like a dance, moving from the hips, very much like martial arts, and it's very effortless. So that is the Anubis, and that is the technique.
The Anubis technique. All right, beautiful. Yeah, and then, brother, I know there was something called a cosmic orgasm. This might be a new concept for a lot of people who are listening. I know you mentioned the word Pleiades in there, and I know you spent years at a temple, practicing a lot of these different methods. And so, can you tell us a little bit about cosmic orgasms?
Everyone is, let's say, love, sex, and orgasm and pleasure is a rainbow. Everyone is stuck in red. They only know Pornhub style sex. That's it. There's all these other colors, all these other subtle energy. Now, the cosmic level orgasm comes from this subtle energy, energetic orgasms, but also building up tension, building up the expectation, building up the energy. So it's not just like going in there, pressing the button and everything happens. And women, they're getting desensitized with their womanizers and their rampant rabbits and things like that. So they also don't really know what that could ever feel like because they're good and they're happy with what they're getting. So the key is to get everyone to unlearn what they know, change their habits and behaviors on how they reach pleasure by themselves, because we only know what we only know, and we don't know what we don't know. luckily, there's people like me who studied this, and we are able to reach God through orgasm. When a woman reaches the climax, what are the 3 words she says? Oh my God. I've dated many not religious women, and they still say it. I even say it. And why do we say it? Because we literally reach God, meet God, become God every time we make love. Because that's how life is created. It's meant to be a nice thing, everybody. But we fucked it up. So the cosmic level orgasm is like taking ayahuasca. It's like taking DMT, and you're actually releasing DMT from your pineal gland, your third eye, and you are reaching a state of higher states of consciousness. There's been all these brain scans and studies done where different parts of the brain start to explode like fireworks. And in those states, in a relaxed nervous system state rather than tension, when you're relaxed, you could feel more. A lot of women need to tense up. A lot of men need to, you shallow your breathing. It's the opposite. Everything we teach is the opposite that you have ever done. Relax. Breathe more. In a state of relaxation, heart wide open. In a state of subtle energies, you could feel more. And you're not so tense. You're not so anxious. You're not so stuck in your head. Am I doing it right? Do I look sexy? Do my boobs look good? Like, you're just present and you're feeling the sensations. And by letting go of the expectations, you're able to dance into a galactic orgasmic state. It's incredible. As a man, I can achieve that too. It's not just women who could achieve these galactic cosmic orgasms. It works both ways, because you've got to remember, guys, we were once women too, in the womb.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So to unlearn everything that we've been taught, right? So that we can kind of move from the red gradient, and every color on the rainbow is a dimension. It's a bandwidth of frequency. Red is the root, and obviously as you climb yellow, third chakra, all the way up into purple, the crown. And so to move into these states, literally unlearn everything we've been taught, relax into it, create the safe space container, dance with the authentic connection, breathe presence with the intention of love, and perhaps utilize some of these beautiful methods that Brother Shaft is sharing with us, about how to activate some of these centers, and then to achieve that cosmic level orgasm where different areas of the brain are all lighting up, and it's God making love with God, sacred energy exchange, and that Kundalini energy dimensions 1 through 9 can rise into the brain, and self-realization can happen through this beautiful, pleasurable act of God making love with God. Cool. Shaft, anything that you, as we kind of now tune into where sex is at current kind of consciousness, and where it's moving towards, and kind of what your vision for sacred energy exchange, for Tantra, as we move into kind of this new stage of human age of Aquarius, some call it the golden age, or whatever you want to call it, age of sound. What is your vision of how you see heart-centered Tantra evolving?
So if things go according to plan, then we will see a lot more healthier, wealthier, sexier, sober, happier people. We will see people connecting through real intimacy, sharing their depths, sharing their pleasure, sharing their desires, and also healing through lovemaking. Like, there will be studies done, hopefully on me. So if you know anybody who wants to study male orgasms and showing how much more expansive it is with brain waves, blood pressure, heart waves, and showing the data, because there isn't enough data done on male orgasms. Yes, ejaculation, but this is orgasms. They're getting me hooked up to a machine. You have a woman, you have a normal man. He has an orgasm, peak orgasm, classic clitoral, he has an ejaculation. And then you test my one. And just see the level of outrageousness we have compared to normal, and myself. hopefully people will know that hopefully through this this scientific experiment, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and porn addiction will be eradicated from the face of the earth. All women will reclaim their power by knowing more about their womb wellness, their womb wisdom. We will have less cases of sexual trauma. Now, we live in a planet where every single human is sexually traumatized. Now, if we get Tantra into schools, which is actually happening now, they're learning about boundaries and consent, and it's called something else, but it's the same practices. So if we learn that from a young age, we can actually help more people to be less traumatized. They don't have to come to me in their 30s or 40s and go, yeah, I'm doing it in a work now and I need a Yoni de-armoring session because, I couldn't say no back then. So imagine a world where we are all, who are you? In fact, everybody listening, who are you without fear, guilt, and shame around your sexuality? Who are you when you're truly free to be who you want? Who are you? I suffer from annoying thing called social anxiety sometimes. Who are you without social anxiety? What kind of connections can you forge when you are fearless and courageous in love? Just imagine how enriching your life can be when you could just approach it and say all the beautiful things that is like locked in your heart. Our biggest regrets are the things we never said and did. Now imagine a life where you're fully you and to be you in a safe, respectful, very beautiful boundaries and set with consent and sexiness and juiciness. So really allowing yourself to be free.
Mm. Mm.
Who are you when you're truly free?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's beautiful. And so through these beautiful, amazing kind of, everything that you talked about, setting intention, boundaries, defining your desires, setting the intention and exploring in a safe way, the subtleties as well as the beauty of the anatomy of the Yoni, and to be able to achieve quantum, released Yoni de-armoring the trauma from the root chakra, and then to be able to delve into quantum God making, God love making and self-realization and pleasure, all these things that we talked about. One thing that we didn't really delve into that I kind of wanted to ask about was erectile dysfunction, the male, the lingam, the erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, as well as semen retention. Any words of wisdom on those topics?
Well, the Shaft method is all around that. I've developed an online course for all men, and it's a 1-month training program where you connect to your conscious touch, discovering what touch you like, but also everything I teach is scalable. So in the first week, it's all about conscious touch, massaging your body for 8 minutes with coconut oil, and just discovering what you like. And then, if you have a partner, you say, hey, you want to play a fun game? I learned a thing called conscious touch. You want to do a 10-minute, 1-hour ritual? And then you talk about boundaries, consent, and then you touch her. What type of touches do you like? Air touch, fire touch, water touch, and earth touch. So discovering how you like to be touched. Now, a lot of men, they don't touch themselves. They touch their dick, and that's it. That's touch for them. So by releasing this one type of touch, which is just the dick, and actually touching your whole body, you are able to release more oxytocin. And that's a beautiful feeling in the body.
Yeah.
Now, the second week is all about activating your conscious cock. So different types of touches, different types of awakening the lingam. If you get the testicles and do this, you massage the testicles, you release more testosterone. That's the thing you could do. There's an epidemic of low testosterone on the planet. Just massage your testicles, you'll release testosterone. That's where it comes from. It's pretty logical. Like I said, Tantra's really basic. Then you can activate the lingam with like lingam shiatsu, different strokes like the champagne bottle or the infinity rub or the lemon squeeze. There's all these different sensations you could bring into your lingam, so it's not just one thing anymore. It's multiple things, and that's where we really want to be. You want to change your habits and behaviors because you've been doing the same thing over and over again, and you have erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation because you're touching yourself the same way over and over again. This is changing your habits, your body's natural movements. We're training it to do something new. And again, you could scale it. If you have a partner, say, hey, I've been doing this fun little exercise. Do you want to learn some new, I call it Dick Ninja. Do you want to learn some new Dick Ninja moves? And you could teach her all the techniques that you learned through my course, and she could up-level her hand skills. Then you have a number scaling system from 0 to ejaculation, ejaculation being 10, 9 being a point of no return, 8 being playing with fire, and you want to be in 7, 6, and 5. So that's where you can edge your way to enlightenment, so to speak. So in that way, instead of lasting 30 seconds in bed, you can start lasting for 3 minutes or 3 hours. So that's the aim of the game, expanding the nervous system for more pleasure. Third week, tantric lovemaking. Fourth week, you finally get your meditation, and that's where you actually have your 8-minute practice that will eradicate erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and porn addiction for the rest of your life. That is the one practice you will do until it's over.
Yeah. Beautiful. Love that. Okay, so like consciously exploring for males, what conscious touch with no goal, and what do I like as males? We've never been even given this permission to do that for most people, and without having any goal. And then from there, releasing the testosterone, which I know the ancient Tao method also talks about, massaging the genitals and learning how do I like to be touched myself so that I can teach someone else. This is how I enjoy being touched. Right. And then from there, with no goal, different types of strokes that you talked about on the lingam. And then that through these conscious touches, then we can teach it to our partners, and we can have the set and container set for these, starting longer sessions where we can start exploring the beauty of this amazing vessel temple. Shaft, thank you for your work, man. Is there any way the listeners can find you? Anything you want to share with them about your online courses, or how they can get more into your work?
So yes, I'd love to invite you into the world of the Shaft Show. If you want one-to-one coaching and healing, check out sacredsexualawakening.com. That's for Yoni massage, de-arming packages, and going one-to-one with me in a deeper container. Tantrawithshaft.com is where all my online courses are. I have different levels for different ways of like awakening the body. And if you wanted to see the deeper content, check me out on OnlyFans, The Shaft Show. Or find me on YouTube, which is a PG-13 style, like fun content. Also, my life is outrageous. It doesn't make any sense. So I've recorded everything. And on my Instagram, you could actually chat with me and talk to me and everything. So I'd love to talk to all of your beautiful audiences and see how I could serve and support all of you to get more healthier, wealthier, sexier, and sober.
A beautiful brother. Thanks for being on the show. And we'll link all those links, on the show notes there. Shaft, any last words you want to send? Anything else? Any last final words you want to send to the audience?
I would love to give a gift to your audience. It's a free gift. It's a mantra. You say this 108 times every day for the next 30 days. And repeat after me. I love my life.
I love my life.
I love my body.
I love my body.
I love myself.
I love myself.
And I love making 10 grand a day. So that is my mantra. That's from everything I learned from Tantra, it boils down to that. Loving your life, loving what you do every day. Loving your body, become multi-orgasmic, unlock its infinite potential. Loving yourself, knowing that you are enough, and making 10 grand a day. You become a different person when you do that.
Yeah.
And you can serve and help humanity.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. So like freedom, I think, is the word that, freedom in our body, freedom in our financial, freedom in our relationships, freedom in our, our all of that. And that's, I think, what really people are looking for is freedom, the ability to do what they want, whenever they want, with whoever they want, and especially to feel free and safe in our bodies. So, brother, thank you so much for your work. Thank you for your dedication. I got to spend some time with you, and it's really beautiful, that you are doing this in such a heart-centered way. I could feel that from you. And it's such an important work. I feel like sacred sexuality and the re-education of Tantra and cosmic orgasms and feeling safe and releasing the trauma from our body. Like, this is some of the most kind of important work that's going to lead us into the new earth. So thank you so much for your dedication, your mission, and for being you, my brother. and for joining us on the show. All right, my dear, 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 beautiful souls. Till next episode, love, light, peace, and truth to all sentient beings. Peace.